The Knicks are on fire. The Knicks were absolutely electric tonight, putting on a show against the Grizzlies that left no doubt about how good they can be, scoring 143 points and holding Memphis to 106. This was their most impressive win of the season by far. From start to finish, they controlled the game and played with an energy that screamed dominance. Jalen Brunson was on point, dropping 20 points, dishing out 6 assists, and snagging 2 steals in just 25 minutes. He shot an efficient 8 out of 14, making everything look smooth and controlled. Then you've got Karl-Anthony Towns, who finished with 24 points and 11 rebounds. And let's not forget his 2 steals. Towns went 9 out of 17 from the field and brought the kind of inside-out game that teams dream about. But Bridges, he stole the spotlight tonight with 28 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 blocks. 12 out of 19 field goals made. That's the kind of production that keeps the opposition scratching their heads. The way he found his spots and delivered was nothing short of spectacular. OG came in like a defensive wrecking ball, grabbing 6 steals while still putting up 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Talk about being everywhere on the court. Deuce McBride and Precious were like the glue, adding 14 points each while contributing on both ends of the floor. McBride also had 3 steals, and Precious brought 2 blocks and 4 steals, proving that the Knicks' defense is no joke. Josh Hart was relentless on the boards, pulling down 10 rebounds and adding 5 assists. Even though he only scored 4 points, his impact was massive, and Cam Payne chipped in with 11 points, showing just how deep this team is. The Knicks didn't just win, they dominated. They pulled their starters with nearly 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, while leading by 34. That's a statement in itself. Memphis, coming in on a 6-game winning streak, got completely overwhelmed. New York has now taken down both Sacramento and Memphis at home during this 4-game winning streak, solidifying their status as a serious contender in the East. The ball movement was absolutely mesmerizing. 70 assists on 105 made field goals over the last 2 games. That's the kind of unselfish play that every coach dreams about. And scoring over 140 points in back-to-back games for just the second time in franchise history, that's not just winning, that's historic. Right now, the Knicks sit as the 3rd seed in the East, only 1 game behind the 2nd seed. That's some serious momentum to carry into the final stretch of the season. They're clicking at the perfect time. And it's not just one guy carrying the load, it's the whole squad stepping up and delivering. You've got to love the chemistry they're showing on the court. But the thing about the Knicks is how good the individual players have been this season. I want to start with Bridges, because his turnaround has been amazing. Bridges has been on an absolute tear lately, proving every doubter wrong after that rough start to the season. Knicks fans were ready to panic, thinking the team might have overpaid in the trade, but patience has paid off. After that cold stretch, he's turned into exactly what they hoped for, and maybe even more. The numbers don't lie. 18.1 points per game, 3.1 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and he's shooting an efficient 49.4% from the field. And now, for the first time all season, he's had back-to-back 25-point games. The consistency is finally there, and it's making a massive difference. The way he's been playing on both ends has been nothing short of elite. Tonight, easily his best 2-way game as a Knick. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Bridges. People threw so much pressure on Bridges to be Bridges right from the jump, barely giving him any grace. But now, more than halfway through the season, he's showing up night after night, looking like the player everyone expected. The transition game has been a big part of that. He's been incredible at running the floor, getting out in space, and finishing plays at a high level. That speed and awareness in transition, it's been one of his biggest weapons this year. And let's talk about his defense for a second. His screen navigation is a completely different level now compared to where it was in the first month of the season. Back then, he struggled to fight through picks and stay in position. Now, he's moving through screens like they're nothing, staying attached to his man and making life miserable for opposing scorers. That's the kind of improvement that takes a player from good to great. And when it comes to shooting, he might just be the most underrated mid-range shooter in the entire NBA. Defenders give him space, and he makes them pay. That smooth pull-up jumper, the patience to create separation, the high release. He's got it all. And when he gets to his spots, it's automatic. The corner 3, that's been his bread and butter all season. He leads the entire NBA in made corner 3s with 70. That ability to space the floor and knock down those shots has been crucial for the Knicks offense. When he's set up in that corner, defenders have to respect it, which opens up so many opportunities for the rest of the team. The advanced numbers, they back up just how important he's been. An offensive rating of 121.3, a defensive rating of 114.4 and a net rating of plus 6.9. That means when Bridges is on the floor, the Knicks are consistently outplaying their opponents. He's impacting winning in every way possible. 67.4% of his games this season have had a positive plus-minus. That means 2 out of every 3 games. When Bridges is on the court, the Knicks are winning those minutes. His on-off stats, a plus 3.8 point swing. That means the Knicks are nearly 4 points better per 100 possessions when he's playing compared to when he's off the floor. That's better than 61% of players in the league, and the usage rate, 19.4%. That means nearly 1/5 of the Knicks' offensive possessions are ending in a Bridges action, whether it's a shot attempt, a free throw, an assist, or a turnover. That's a perfect balance for him. He's getting his shots while still playing within the flow of the offense. 15 field goal attempts per game, 1.2 free throw attempts, 3.2 assists, 1.6 turnovers. He's making the most of every touch. 77.9 possessions played per game, and he's making every one of them count. Whether it's cutting off ball, spacing the floor, locking down his man on defense, or running in transition, he's finding ways to contribute in every area. The best part, this isn't even his peak. He's still getting better, still finding that rhythm, still becoming more and more comfortable in this system. The patience has paid off, and now the Knicks are reaping the rewards. Bridges isn't just back, he's better than ever. But then we can talk about OG, because he's also been awesome. OG has been locked in the last 2 games, and when he's rolling like this alongside Bridges, the Knicks are nearly unstoppable. He started the season on fire, cooled off for a bit, but now he's back to playing at an elite level, and the difference is obvious. He's averaging 16.3 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 2 assists, while shooting 47.7% from the field. That's solid across the board, but what he's been doing lately is even more impressive. His last 2 games have been his best stretch in a while, and when he and Bridges are both playing well at the same time, the Knicks take it to another level. Tonight, OG was everywhere. He didn't need a flashy 30-point game where every bucket came from an assist. What he did was even more valuable, staying aggressive, making plays off the ball, and setting the tone on defense. When he plays with this kind of intensity, it changes the entire feel of the game. The off-ball activity, it's been huge. He's not just standing in the corner waiting for a shot. He's moving, cutting, and creating opportunities without needing the ball in his hands constantly. And on the other end, he's mucking up the game in the best way possible. Deflections, steals, contests. He's making life miserable for opponents. He's averaging 1.4 steals and nearly 1 block per game, which puts him ahead of 96% of players in mixed team defense ranking. The advanced numbers back it all up. He's got an offensive rating of 120.8, a defensive rating of 113.7, and a net rating of plus 7. That means when OG is on the floor, the Knicks are outscoring opponents at a dominant rate. 56.5% of his games this season have had a positive plus-minus. That means in more than half the games he's played, the Knicks have been better with him on the court. His on-off stats, a plus 4.5 point swing, which puts him ahead of 76% of the league. That's a game changer. The mixed team defense rankings also put OG in the 76th percentile, showing just how much he impacts the Knicks' ability to get stops. He's averaging 3.5 defensive rebounds per game, and the team's overall defensive efficiency sits at 113.7 when he's on the floor. That's the kind of presence that makes a real difference in winning basketball. The best part, he doesn't have to go for 6 steals every night to be effective. What he did tonight, staying active, staying aggressive, and making his presence felt on both ends, that's what the Knicks need consistently. He doesn't need to take over with scoring, he just needs to keep doing what he does best. With the way he's been playing lately, it's clear he's back in rhythm, and that's a scary sight for the rest of the league. When OG is locked in like this, the Knicks are an entirely different team. He's back, and he's making a statement. But now, we'll get to the All-Stars. And we'll start with Brunson. Jalen Brunson is playing at an absolutely elite level, and now he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. His first ever All-Star starter selection. Knicks fans have known for a while just how special he is, but now the whole league is seeing it. He's been the driving force behind this team all season, and the numbers back it up in a big way. He's putting up 25.9 points per game, while shooting an impressive 48.7% from the field. But it's not just about scoring. He's also averaging 7.4 assists, creating nearly 18 points per game for his teammates. That means he's directly responsible for over 40 points per game, which is absolutely ridiculous. Whether it's getting his own bucket or setting someone else up, he's doing it all, and he's doing it efficiently. A true shooting percentage of 60.2% puts him ahead of 84% of players in the league. That means he's not just scoring, he's scoring smart. His effective field goal percentage sits at 55.1%, which is better than 62% of players. That's incredible for a guy who's constantly the main focus of opposing defenses. Defenders know exactly what he wants to do, and they still can't stop him. And speaking of defenses, he's shredding them night after night. His offensive rating is 120.7, which means the Knicks' offense is elite when he's on the floor. His net rating of +5 shows just how much better the team is with him leading the way. When he's running the show, the Knicks are just a different team. His ball handling, absolutely elite. Ranked in the 98th percentile, he's one of the best in the entire league at controlling the game. He's got an assist rate of 32.2%, which means nearly a third of the Knicks' made shots while he's on the court come directly from his passes. That's better than 96% of players. He's reading the floor at an elite level, making the right pass, and setting up teammates for easy buckets. And the crazy part? He's doing all this while barely turning the ball over. He's only averaging 2.4 turnovers per game, which puts him in the 95th percentile in turnover percentage. His control of the game is just unreal. He knows when to attack, when to slow it down, and when to let the offense flow. That kind of decision making is rare. He's playing over 71 possessions per game, taking 18 shots, getting to the line 7 times, and dishing out over 7 assists. His usage rate, 29.6%. That means nearly a third of the Knicks' offensive plays are ending in a Jalen Brunson action, whether it's a shot, a free throw, or an assist. And yet, he never looks like he's forcing anything. He plays at his own pace, gets to his spots, and makes the right reads. 51.1% of the games he's played this season have had a positive plus-minus. That means in more than half his games, the Knicks are winning the minutes he's on the floor. His on-off impact, a plus 2-point swing, which ranks ahead of 98% of players. The Knicks are just better when he's out there leading the charge. But it's not just about the numbers. His impact goes way beyond the stat sheet. He's got the leadership, the poise, and the ability to take over in clutch moments. When the Knicks need a bucket, he delivers. When they need a playmaker, he steps up. When they need a steady hand to calm things down, he's got it covered. That's why he's an all-star starter. And let's talk about his scoring versatility. He's one of the best finishers at his position, despite not having elite athleticism. He's crafty, he's smart, and he knows exactly how to use his body to create angles. His footwork in the paint is ridiculous. He can stop on a dime, pivot, fake, and get defenders completely off balance. And once he's got a little space, that soft floater is automatic. His mid-range game, deadly. Defenders try to run him off the three-point line, but it doesn't matter. He'll just get to his spot inside the arc, rise up, and knock it down. He's got that old school, fundamental style of scoring that makes him impossible to guard. And when teams play up on him, he's got the handles and strength to get all the way to the rim. And let's not forget about the three ball. He's making 2.4 per game, which puts him ahead of 75% of players. He's not just a volume shooter, he's an efficient one. He picks his spots, doesn't settle for bad shots, and knocks them down when it matters. His effective field goal percentage on threes is 55.1%, meaning he's cashing in at a high rate. There's a reason why the Knicks trust him with the ball in his hands more than anyone else. He's the heartbeat of this team. He makes everything run smoothly. And when he's at his best, the Knicks are one of the toughest teams to beat. And now, with the All-Star nod, the rest of the league is finally catching on. He's not just a good player. He's one of the best guards in the entire NBA. The efficiency, the playmaking, the leadership, it's all there. The Knicks are lucky to have him. And he's showing every night why he's worth every penny. Jalen Brunson isn't just playing well, he's putting on a masterclass. And if he keeps this up, the Knicks are going to be a serious problem for the rest of the league. But then we'll talk about Towns. Karl Anthony Towns has been an absolute monster this season, dominating in every area while playing through a broken thumb. That's not just toughness, that's elite level commitment. He's been a game changer for the Knicks, and the numbers prove just how important he's been. Right now, he's ranked in the top 5 in overall player impact, meaning he's making a bigger difference for his team than almost anyone in the league. He's putting up 24.9 points, 13.9 rebounds, and 3.4 assists, while shooting an insane 54% from the field. That level of production, especially from a big man who stretches the floor, is rare. His true shooting percentage, a ridiculous 65%. Ranking ahead of 98% of players. That means he's not just scoring, he's scoring with unreal efficiency while taking almost 17 shots per game and getting to the free throw line nearly 6 times a night. And he's not settling for easy shots either. His effective field goal percentage sits at 60.2%, better than 90% of players. He's averaging 1.2 points per field goal attempt, showing just how efficient he is no matter where he's shooting from. He's knocking down 6.9 two-pointers per game and adding 2.1 three-pointers. That's the kind of versatility that makes him nearly impossible to defend. Towns isn't just scoring, he's impacting every single possession. When he's on the floor, the Knicks offense takes off. His offensive rating is 122, proving just how dominant they are when he's in the game. And it's not just on that end. His defensive rating is 112.8, meaning he's making a real difference on defense too. The net rating, a massive plus 9.2. That means the Knicks outscore their opponents by almost 10 points per 100 possessions when he's out there. That's elite impact. 65.9% of the games he's played this season have had a positive plus-minus. That means in nearly 2/3 of his games, the Knicks are winning the minutes he plays. His on-off impact, a plus 6.5 point swing, ranking better than 90% of the league. When he's in the game, the Knicks are simply better, and that's exactly what you want from a franchise player. And the rebounding, he's been nothing short of dominant. Averaging 13.9 boards per game, he's one of the best rebounders in the entire league. On the defensive end, he's pulling down 10.9 rebounds per game, ranking ahead of 90% of players. His defensive rebound percentage is an insane 30.9%, meaning he's securing almost 1/3 of all available defensive rebounds when he's on the floor. That's what you call controlling the glass. And he's not just grabbing defensive boards, he's making an impact on the offensive glass too. He's snagging 3 offensive rebounds per game, ranking ahead of 99% of players. That's huge because it creates second chance opportunities and extra possessions. The Knicks are already tough to guard, but when Towns is cleaning up misses and getting them extra looks, it makes them even harder to stop. Defensively, he's been solid all season. He's averaging 1 steal and nearly 1 block per game, showing he's not just standing around waiting for rebounds. His defensive efficiency rating of 112.8 ranks among the best in the league, proving he's using his size, length, and positioning to make a real impact on that end. He's contesting shots, altering drives, and making life tough for opponents. He's playing over 71 possessions per game, taking 16 shots, getting to the line nearly 6 times, and dishing out 3.5 assists. His usage rate, 27.1%. That means more than 1/4 of the Knicks' offensive plays end in a Karl Anthony Towns action, whether it's a shot, a free throw, or an assist. And despite that high usage, he's still playing efficiently and within the team system. What makes him so dangerous is his versatility. Most big men are either dominant post scorers or stretch shooters. Towns is both. He can overpower smaller defenders in the paint, step outside and drain threes, and even take guys off the dribble. There just aren't many players with his combination of size, skill, and shooting touch. That's why defenses struggle so much to slow him down. And let's talk about the toughness factor. Playing with a broken thumb and still putting up these kinds of numbers, that's not normal. Most players would struggle just to stay on the court, but he's thriving. He's still producing at an elite level, still leading his team, and still helping them win games. That's the kind of toughness that earns respect around the league. His ability to dominate both ends, crash the boards, and stretch the floor makes him one of the most valuable players in basketball. He's been a game changer for the Knicks, and if he keeps playing like this, they're going to be a serious problem for anyone who tries to stop them. But then we'll talk about the last starter, Josh Hart. Josh Hart is the ultimate glue guy, the type of player every team needs, but few truly appreciate. He's not flashy, he's not a household name, and he's not putting up 30 every night, but he's as valuable to the Knicks as anyone on the roster. He does everything, defends the best wings, crashes the boards like a center, keeps the offense flowing, and plays with an intensity that wears teams down. At 6'4", he's one of the best rebounders in the entire league, not just among guards, among everyone. He's averaging 9.8 rebounds per game, putting him in the top 11 in total boards. He's also the only player under 6'9" to grab at least 400 rebounds this season. That's absurd. He's pulling down 7.5 defensive rebounds per game, which ranks ahead of 89% of players, and he's grabbing 2.3 offensive rebounds per game, putting him ahead of 85% of the league. He's relentless on the glass, constantly giving the Knicks extra possessions and shutting down second chance opportunities for opponents. His impact isn't just about effort, it's backed by the numbers. He's averaging 14.1 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 5.7 assists, while shooting a ridiculous 55.8% from the field. His effective field goal percentage sits at 62.2%, ranking ahead of 91% of players. His true shooting percentage, 65.7%, which puts him in the 94th percentile. That means he's not just scoring, he's scoring efficiently. Hart is second in the entire NBA in total minutes played, only trailing Bridges. That alone tells you how much the Knicks rely on him. He's played through fatigue, injuries, and an insane workload, yet he never takes a possession off. His motor never stops, and that's why he's so valuable. But it's not just about the numbers. His role on this team is crucial. Tom Thibodeau has finally figured out the best way to maximize this defense, and Hart is a huge part of it. Bridges takes the smaller, quicker guards. OG plays free safety, roaming and disrupting plays. And Hart, he takes on the best scoring wings every night. Whether it's an elite shooter, a physical slasher, or a crafty playmaker, he's the one tasked with slowing them down, and he's doing it at an elite level. His defensive rating is 114.5, showing just how much of an impact he makes. He's averaging 1.5 steals per game, ranking ahead of 89% of players. And when he's on the floor, the Knicks' team defensive efficiency improves dramatically. His ability to contest shots, disrupt passing lanes, and take on tough matchups is a massive part of why the Knicks have been so good defensively. Offensively, he doesn't need the ball to be effective. He makes quick decisions, moves without the ball, and plays within the flow of the offense. He's taking just 9.6 shots per game, yet still putting up 14 points a night. That's efficiency. He's also getting to the free throw line 2.7 times per game, showing his ability to attack when needed. And his playmaking? Underrated. He's averaging 5.7 assists per game, meaning he's creating nearly 16 points a night for his teammates. He's not just making simple passes, he's making smart, high-impact plays that keep the offense flowing. He's also in the 94th percentile in mixed teamwork rankings, showing just how much better the Knicks are when he's out there. 60% of the games he's played this season have had a positive plus-minus. That means in most games, the Knicks are winning the minutes he plays. His on-off impact, a plus 3.3 point swing, ranking ahead of 83% of players. When he's in the game, the Knicks are better. It's that simple. And then there's the triple doubles. His 20-point, 18 rebound, 11 assist game against Sacramento was his 6th triple-double of the season and the 12th of his career. Every single one of them has come since he arrived in New York. He's already tied for 4th in franchise history in career triple doubles, and he's only been here for 2 years. That says everything about how well he fits with this team. Despite all of this, Hart said he's not making the All-Star team. He's been realistic about it. The All-Star game is built for stars, not glue guy. He doesn't have the flash, the name recognition, or the scoring numbers that get players voted in. But that doesn't mean he's not just as valuable as some of the guys who will make it. The Knicks already have 2 All-Star starters, their first duo since Earl Monroe and Walt Frazier in 1975. There just aren't enough spots to recognize a guy like Hart. But in New York, he's already an all-star. His ranking among the top 11 Eastern Conference guards and fan voting proves how much people appreciate what he brings. The fans know what he means to this team. Hart's game is built for winning. He does the dirty work, makes winning plays, and sacrifices his body every single night. He's not here for personal stats. He's here to win games. That's why the Knicks love him. That's why he's one of the most valuable players on this team. Josh Hart isn't just a role player. He's a difference maker. And as long as he's on the floor, the Knicks are going to keep finding ways to win. But after the starters, I want to talk about the bench guys. And the one guy that's been really impressive to me recently, Precious. Precious might not be the flashiest player on the Knicks, but he's one of the most important. He does the dirty work, plays with relentless energy, and makes winning plays that don't always show up in the stat sheet. And right now, with Mitchell Robinson out, he's stepping into a huge role as the backup center and thriving. He's averaging 5.4 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 1 assist per game, while shooting an efficient 53.2% from the field. The numbers might not jump off the page, but his impact goes way beyond that. He's one of the most versatile and unselfish players on the team, always willing to do whatever's needed to help the Knicks win. And let's talk about the athleticism. Precious gets some of the craziest dunks. When he takes off, defenders better get out of the way, because he's got the power and explosiveness to throw it down on anyone. He plays above the rim, whether it's catching lobs, finishing in transition, or crashing the offensive glass for putbacks. But his real value comes from all the little things he does. He's constantly moving, setting screens, rotating on defense, and making hustle plays that keep possessions alive. He's filling a massive role right now, and he's making the most of it. Defensively, he's been rock solid. He ranks in the 71st percentile in mixed team defense, showing just how much he disrupts opponents. He's averaging 0.8 steals and 0.8 blocks per game, proving that he's not just a presence in the paint, he's making plays all over the floor. The Knicks' defensive efficiency when he's on the court sits at 114, which puts him ahead of 88% of players in that category. That means when he's in the game, the team is getting stops. In the rebounding, he's been huge. He's grabbing 5.5 boards per game, ranking ahead of 88% of players. His defensive rebounding is solid at 3.8 per game, and he's pulling down 1.7 offensive rebounds per game. That puts him in the 86th percentile in offensive rebounding percentage, meaning he's constantly giving the Knicks second chance opportunities. His offensive rebound percentage sits at 9.49%, which ranks ahead of nearly 90% of players in the league. That means almost 1 in 10 available offensive boards is ending up in his hands when he's on the floor. Those extra possessions add up, and they're a huge part of why the Knicks have been able to dominate teams on the glass. And even though he's not a high-volume scorer, he's efficient. His effective field goal percentage sits at 56%, putting him in the top 52% of the league. His true shooting percentage, 56.3%, which means when he does take shots, he's converting at a solid rate. He's making 2.1 two-pointers per game, hitting the occasional 3, and taking just over 4 shots per game. He knows his role, plays within the system, and doesn't force bad shots. He's playing tough, smart basketball, and that's exactly what the Knicks need from him. He's not trying to be something he's not. He's playing to his strength, and it's paying off. He's attacking the glass, protecting the rim, and bringing non-stop energy whenever he's on the floor. And it's not just the numbers. His impact is felt every game. He's setting hard screens to free up teammates, rotating on defense to cut off drives, and making those hustle plays that swing momentum. He's not the type of player who's going to get headlines, but he's the type of player who helps teams win. His presence has been even more crucial with Robinson sidelined. The Knicks needed someone to step up, and Precious has answered the call. He's playing his role perfectly, giving them valuable minutes at the center position and proving that he can be relied upon in big moments. Every team needs a guy like Precious. He's tough, he's unselfish, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to help his team win. He doesn't need a ton of touches. He doesn't need plays run for him. He just plays hard, makes smart decisions, and impacts the game in ways that don't always show up in the box score. And the best part? He's only getting better. As he continues to grow more comfortable in his role, his impact is going to keep increasing. The Knicks have something special and precious, and he's proving every night why he's such a valuable piece to this team. But then I want to talk about Deuce. Deuce McBride is the Knicks' most important bench player, and when he plays well, the entire team looks different. He's had a rough season with injuries and illness, but the last 2 games have been a reminder of just how good he can be. When he's locked in, the Knicks' depth becomes a serious weapon, and they play at an entirely different level. He's averaging 9.1 points, 2.4 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game. On paper, those numbers might not stand out, but his impact goes way beyond the stat sheet. He brings energy, defense, and steady ball handling, making him one of the most valuable role players on the team. His offensive rating sits at 122.3, which shows just how efficient the Knicks are when he's on the floor. But the real eye-opener? His net rating is plus 10.4. That means the Knicks outscore opponents by over 10 points per 100 possessions when he's in the game. That's elite impact. 63.9% of the games he's played this season have had a positive plus-minus. That means in nearly 2/3 of the games he's appeared in, the Knicks are winning those minutes. His on-off impact is a plus 1.8 point swing, ranking better than 80% of players. That's a huge deal for a bench guard, showing that when he's in, good things happen. His ball handling has been reliable, ranking in the 80th percentile among all players. He's not the primary playmaker, but he's capable of running the second unit and keeping things under control when Brunson is on the bench. His assist rate is 15.66%, meaning a solid portion of the Knicks' made baskets while he's on the court come from his passes. He's averaging 2.8 assists per game, directly creating over 7 points per night for teammates. And he does it all while taking care of the ball. His turnover percentage is just 6.56%, ranking better than 88% of players. He's averaging only 0.8 turnovers per game, despite playing nearly 47 possessions per night. That level of ball security is huge for a backup guard. He's also taking smart, efficient shots. He's attempting 7.8 field goals per game and getting to the free throw line 1.1 times per game. His usage rate is 16.8%, meaning he's involved in nearly 17% of the Knicks' offensive plays when he's on the floor. That's the perfect balance, staying aggressive without forcing things. But where Deuce really makes his mark is on defense. His defensive rating is 111.8, proving how much he impacts that end of the floor. He's one of the toughest, most physical defenders on the team, constantly taking on difficult assignments and making life miserable for opposing guards. His defensive energy changes games. He fights through screens, applies full court pressure, and forces opponents into bad shots. He doesn't need to rack up steals or blocks to make an impact. His ability to disrupt opposing offenses is what makes him so valuable. When he's on the floor, the Knicks' perimeter defense is noticeably better. The biggest issue for him this season has been consistency. Dealing with injuries and illness made it tough for him to find a rhythm, and there were stretches where he struggled. But now that he's healthy, he's showing what he's capable of. The last 2 games have been some of his best performances of the season, and that's a great sign for the Knicks. When he's playing aggressive defense and hitting his shots, the Knicks bench goes from solid to elite. His ability to provide a spark changes the dynamic of the game, and that's something the team desperately needs in a playoff run. Deuce doesn't need to be a star, he just needs to play his role, lock in on defense, take smart shots, and keep the offense steady. When he does that, the Knicks are a much tougher team to beat. He's not the guy who's going to fill up the box score every night, but his impact is undeniable. He's a difference maker off the bench, and if he keeps playing like he has in the last 2 games, the Knicks are only going to get better. But lastly, I want to talk about Cam Payne. Cam Payne is the Knicks' ultimate spark plug. Fans call him Turbo for a reason. When he's on the floor, the entire game speeds up. He pushes the pace, pressures defenses, and injects instant energy into the team. The Knicks need that kind of boost off the bench, and Payne has been delivering in a big way. Tonight was a perfect example. He played his best 4th quarter since joining the Knicks, and just the other day, he exploded for 18 points in 6 minutes. That's what makes him so dangerous. He can flip the momentum of a game almost instantly. He's averaging 7.4 points, 1.4 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game, while shooting an efficient 55.6% from the field. He's not taking a ton of shots, but when he does, he makes them count. His true shooting percentage is 57.9%, which ranks ahead of 77% of players. That level of efficiency, combined with his ability to change the tempo of a game, makes him an invaluable piece of the Knicks' second unit. His offensive rating sits at 123.7, proving how much more effective the Knicks' offense is when he's on the floor. His net rating? A ridiculous plus 11.8. That means the Knicks are outscoring opponents by nearly 12 points per 100 possessions when he's in the game. That's an elite impact for a bench player. 62.5% of the games he's played have had a positive plus-minus. That means in most of his appearances, the Knicks are winning the minutes he's on the floor. That's exactly what you want from a bench guard, someone who can step in, change the flow of the game, and give the team an edge every time he checks in. His ball handling has been solid, ranking in the 77th percentile among NBA players. He's not the primary playmaker on this team, but he's more than capable of keeping the offense running smoothly. His assist rate is 22.77%, meaning nearly a quarter of the Knicks' made baskets, while he's on the floor, come from his passes. He's averaging 2.6 assists per game and directly creating over 6 points per night for his teammates. And the best part, he's taking care of the ball. His turnover percentage sits at just 6.84%, ranking better than 86% of players. He's averaging only 0.7 turnovers per game, despite playing 30 possessions per night. That's exactly what you want from a backup point guard, someone who plays fast but doesn't make reckless mistakes. He's taking 6 shots per game and knocking down 1.5 threes, making him a legitimate perimeter threat. His effective field goal percentage is 55.6%, meaning he's selecting good shots and converting at an efficient rate. Even though he's only getting to the line 0.7 times per game, he's maximizing every offensive possession he's involved in. But what really makes him stand out isn't just his shooting, it's how he changes the tempo of the game. The Knicks play at a much faster pace when he's in, and that speed puts opposing defenses on their heels. He loves to push in transition, attack before defenses can get set, and create easy scoring opportunities for himself and his teammates. Defensively, he's been solid as well. His defensive rating sits at 111.9, showing he's holding his own on that end of the floor. He's not a lockdown defender, but his energy and quickness allow him to apply pressure, disrupt passing lanes, and keep opposing guards uncomfortable. He competes hard and brings the same level of intensity on defense as he does on offense. The biggest takeaway from his recent stretch, when Payne plays well, the Knicks bench becomes a serious weapon. He's not just a change of pace guy, he's a game changer. When he's aggressive and confident, his ability to heat up in an instant gives the Knicks something few other teams have. A true microwave scorer who can shift momentum at any time. His usage rate sits at 20.2%, meaning 1 out of every 5 Knicks possessions when he's on the floor ends in a Payne action. That's a perfect balance. He's involved enough to make an impact without disrupting the offensive flow. He knows when to take over and when to keep the ball moving. The challenge for him is consistency. There have been stretches where he's been quiet, but when he's engaged and playing with confidence, the Knicks look like a different team. His speed, energy, and ability to create offense in a hurry make him a crucial piece of this roster. Campaign doesn't need to put up huge numbers to be valuable. He just needs to keep doing what he does best, pushing the pace, taking smart shots, and making plays for his teammates. When he's in attack mode, the Knicks become a much tougher team to beat. And if he keeps playing like he has in these last few games, he's going to be a major factor for the Knicks down the stretch. Overall, though, the Knicks are heating up at the perfect time, and they're becoming a serious problem for the rest of the league. They've got 2 All-Stars in Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns leading the charge, and they're playing their best basketball of the season. But the craziest part, they're doing all of this without Mitchell Robinson. This team is already dominant, and they're only going to get better. Robinson is still recovering from injury, and when he returns, the Knicks' defense and rebounding will reach another level. He's one of the best shot blockers and rim protectors in the league, and his presence alone completely changes how opponents attack the paint. Right now, Precious is doing an incredible job filling in, but adding Robinson back into the mix, that's going to make the Knicks even scarier. And it's not just the stars carrying them. Bridges and OG are thriving on both ends. Josh Hart is doing all the dirty work, Campaign is giving them instant offense, and Deuce McBride is locking up on defense. Every role player is stepping up, and that's why this team is rolling. They've already proven they can beat elite teams, and now they're closing in on one of the top seeds in the East. They're defending at a high level, sharing the ball, and playing with confidence. If they're this dangerous without their full squad, imagine how good they'll be when Robinson is back. The Knicks aren't just good, they're a legitimate contender. And if they keep this up, nobody's going to want to see them in the playoff. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.